Your parents bought a house on one salary. You and your partner combined make triple what they did. And you can barely afford rent. What the hell happened? I'm going to tell you about Sarah and Mike. Real people, fake names. They're 34 and 36. She's a project manager pulling $68,000. He's in sales making $79,000. That's $147,000 combined. They should be winning, right? Top 20% of American earners. Instead, they just borrowed money from her parents to fix their HVAC. They haven't taken a real vacation in 3 years. And last month, Sarah cried in her car before work because she's so tired of feeling broke when the math says they shouldn't be. If that hits close to home, you're not alone. And you're definitely not crazy. I'm Grayson Cole, and I've spent way too much time dissecting why two incomes don't go as far as we think they should. If you and your partner are grinding day in and day out, but still can't seem to make ends meet, trust me, it's not your fault. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because today, we're going to break down why the math just doesn't add up anymore, and, more importantly, how you can break free from it. Here's what nobody told you when you were grinding through college and climbing the career ladder. The American economy pulled off one of the greatest magic tricks in history. They convinced an entire generation that having two incomes would make you twice as rich. Instead, it just made everything twice as expensive. This isn't a theory. Harvard bankruptcy expert Elizabeth Warren spent years studying thousands of families who went bankrupt. What she found should terrify you. The families most likely to lose everything? Dual income households. Not single parents, not one-income families. The ones doing everything right. Let me paint you a picture of 1973. Your dad's making $12,000 a year as an accountant. In today's money, that's about $83,000. Your mom's home with 3 kids. That single paycheck? It bought them a 3-bedroom house in a decent suburb. 2 cars. Granted, they were terrible cars, but still. Healthcare that didn't bankrupt them. Enough left over that your mom could actually stay home. Fast forward to today. You're making $83,000, same as your dad adjusted for inflation. Except now that buys you maybe a 1-bedroom apartment if you're lucky. Definitely not a house. And you better hope you don't get sick. But wait, you're thinking. I have a partner. We're both working. We make way more combined. Yeah, about that. Here's where it gets really messed up. And this is the part that once you see it, you can't unsee it. When families started putting that second parent to work in the 70s and 80s, something insane happened to prices. And I'm not talking about inflation. I'm talking about something way more sinister. Think about it like this. It's 1975. You're buying a house. You're competing against other families who have one income. So houses get priced based on what one income can afford. Now it's 1995. Every family on your street has 2 incomes. Suddenly everyone has double the buying power. Same houses, twice the money chasing them. What happens to prices? They don't just go up a little, they explode. The median home in 1970 cost about 2.5 times the median household income. Today, it's over 5 times. Housing didn't get twice as expensive because of inflation. It got twice as expensive because everyone started showing up to the auction with 2 paychecks instead of 1. Same thing happened with childcare. When one parent stayed home, childcare cost was 0. The second everyone started working, suddenly you're paying $15,000 per kid per year just so you can go to work. In major cities, try $30,000. You're not paying for childcare because you're working. You're working to pay for childcare. Let that sink in. And it gets worse. Way worse. Because there's a hidden tax on that second income that nobody talks about. And it's absolutely crushing you. Let's do the math they don't want you to do. Say one of you makes $75,000. The other makes $55,000. That $55,000 looks great on paper, right? Here's what actually happens to it. Taxes. That $55,000 isn't your first dollar earned. It's your last dollar earned, which means it gets hammered by the highest tax brackets. Federal, state, payroll taxes, you're losing 35% easy. That $55,000 is now $36,000. Childcare. 1 kid in daycare, There goes another $15,000. You're at $21,000. Commute, gas, insurance, car maintenance, parking, that's $6,000 annually, down to $15,000. The exhaustion tax. This is the one nobody calculates. When both of you work 50-hour weeks, you're too tired to cook, too tired to clean, too tired to do basic maintenance. So you order takeout, hire cleaners, pay for convenience you wouldn't need if someone had time. Studies show dual income families spend $8 to $12,000 more annually on convenience services. That $55,000 second income, after taxes, childcare, commuting, and exhaustion spending, you're netting maybe $5 to $7,000. Someone is leaving their kids, fighting traffic, sitting in meetings they hate, and bringing home $7,000 a year. That's $28 per working day. That's $3.50 per hour. But here's the really sick part. The part that keeps you trapped. You don't feel like you're only making $3.50 an hour from that second job. Because when you look at your tax return, you see $130,000 combined income. That number tricks your brain. The bank sees it too. They'll loan you money based on that $130,000. So you buy the $450,000 house, lease the 2 cars, book the vacation on the credit card because we make 6 figures, and then you're stuck. Because your lifestyle expanded to need both incomes, not to thrive, just to survive. Your parents' generation had something you don't. It wasn't more money, it was a backup plan. When your dad was the sole earner, your mom was the emergency fund. If he lost his job or got sick, she could enter the workforce. It wasn't ideal, but it was there. That was their insurance policy. You've already cashed in that insurance policy just to cover the monthly bills. Both of you are working full tilt just to maintain baseline. There's no reserve. Federal Reserve found that 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing. 40%. And many of those people make good money on paper. This is why dual income families go bankrupt more often than single income families. Not because they're dumb with money, because they're running at 100% capacity with zero margin for life actually happening. One medical crisis, one layoff, one aging parent who needs care. That's all it takes. The whole thing collapses. So what do? You can't just quit your job. You need both incomes to survive. Or do you? Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. You don't need both incomes. You need both incomes to maintain the lifestyle you built around both incomes. See the difference? Most families do this backwards. They take the combined income, see what they can afford, and max it out. Big mortgage, 2 car payments, expensive neighborhood, elite schools. Then they're locked in. 2 incomes aren't optional anymore. They're mandatory forever. Try this instead. Build your life around 1 income. I'm serious. Take your bigger salary. Structure your fixed costs. Mortgage, cars, insurance, everything that doesn't flex, so that 1 income covers it. The second income? That's not for lifestyle. That's for building freedom. Emergency fund first. 6 months of expenses. Then max out retirement accounts. Then taxable investments. Every dollar you don't spend is buying back your optionality. Within 5 years of living this way, something crazy happens. Those investments start generating income. Compound interest becomes real. And suddenly you've got actual financial security, not just the appearance of it. You're not 2 paychecks from disaster anymore. One partner could step back if needed, take a lower paying job they actually enjoy, focus on the kids, care for family. You'd have choices again. The 2 income trap isn't about the money. It never was. It's about trading flexibility for stuff. Your grandparents had 1 income and more financial security than you have with 2. Not because they earned more, because they kept their backup plan in reserve. We traded that security for bigger houses and nicer cars and keeping up with everyone else who's also pretending they're fine. But here's the truth. Cash flow isn't wealth. A big combined income isn't security. And 2 paychecks mean nothing if they're both spent before they hit your account. The families who actually build wealth aren't the ones earning the most. They're the ones who refuse to let their expenses grow with their income. The ones who kept margin. The ones who said no to the lifestyle upgrade so they could say yes to actual freedom. You can't earn your way out of a trap you don't see. Now you see it. Your parents bought a house on 1 income, not because houses were cheaper, though they were, but because they only needed 1 income to live. You need 2 incomes to survive, because the economy adjusted prices to swallow both. The question isn't how do I make more money? The question is, how do I stop letting my expenses eat everything I make? Figure that out and everything changes. Click left if you want to know how billionaires spend their first $20,000, and click right to know the shocking financial stats of an average American, and I will see you there in a second.